Well.
How about this?
We are like as on time could be for this podcast.
We went live. It said 6:01.
Like Ross peeked his little mustache over the window and he said, "Hey, you ready?"
So we're going.
We're going.
We're going, brother.
We're going, brother.
You don't have to get ready if you stay ready, though.
And what have we been doing all day? Well, not really all day, but what have we been doing since 3:15 p.m.?
And answer it honestly.
Yeah.
Been drinking.
Drinking.
That Coors Light.
Coors Light. I had a little bit of Lone Star beer.
Oh, I did have a Lagunitas.
I had
you
had a Lagunitas IPA. I had a Robert's Western World.
Yeah.
Cheeseburger.
Yeah. I didn't
had
eat
shrimp
anything.
cocktail.
I had the shrimp cocktail. We had some of that bacon at the Palm.
Oh, see, I wasn't going to tell people where I had shrimp cocktail. I just wanted to think it was Robert's Western World where I had shrimp cocktail.
Yeah. Damn, that would have been a great bit convincing people. Go to Robert's Western World and order
for their
shrimp cocktail.
Yeah. Get their atomic horseradish cocktail sauce.
Hey,
but yeah, we went to the Palm.
That'll clear out your sinuses.
Yeah. Well, especially if you think it's a pat of butter and you are prone to eat a pat of butter.
Yeah. I mean, I might have fallen for that. I'm not going to lie, because I do love butter.
My parents are in town, so we went and saw them. They were downtown. I'm getting my pupils dilated because we're going to do tomorrow. Why is that funny?
I don't know why. This is just how warped my brain is. I thought you were about to say, I'm going to get my pubes something.
Yeah, my pubes dilated. I'm going to get my pupils dilated tomorrow because I'm having LASIK, thanks to visionforlife.com, over next weekend. So my parents are in town to kind of like, my mom, Lauren, my wife, could not take me because she had scheduling conflict. So you could not take me because you had a scheduling conflict. So I went to my third in the emergency contacts list. So went first wife, second wife, mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so tomorrow, my mom and dad decided to let's make a whole weekend out of it.
Yeah.
So
that's the right move, man.
They're
having a great time. I didn't want to come do this show. I just wanted to hang out with them.
I mean, I almost thought about what if we just did the show.
Just live on the scene.
Live at the Palm.
At the Palm. Yeah.
Dad sleeping in the background. Mom looking at dad disapprovingly.
Mm-hmm.
And we just did it at the Palm.
Yeah, we're talking about Apalachicola.
Easton's picture drawn up over there. We had Rob Baronis, Vernon Fiddler, Delaney Walker, Maren Morris, and then some of these standbackers.
Yeah.
Standbackers? Handbacks.
Yeah.
Dan Backs.
Yeah, something like that.
Dan Hacks. Yeah. I don't know. There was a couple of those people there.
We're so early today that nobody's even watching.
No,
right now.
Lisa Braden.
Lisa's there. Hey, Lisa. Thank you for tuning in.
She said, "What's up, Stoney?"
Lisa's the only one in the chat right now. Because
I don't get a what's up, but you get a what's up.
Well, everybody else is just like, oh, these guys aren't going live till 6:15. We got time. But no, Lisa's there. Thank you, Lisa. Hope you're doing well.
I think everybody's doing well.
Yeah. What about Ross? Is Ross doing well?
Ross?
We're doing good.
I was hoping to catch him with his mouth full in there, but
it's half full.
Okay. All right. Almost executed a great bit there.
It was funny. We saw Cortland Finnegan's picture up on the wall. Saw Mike Vrabel in the booth. You didn't get to see Mike Vrabel in the booth, but I saw him.
I did not get to see Mike Vrabel in the booth. You still haven't told me if it was actually Mike Vrabel or if it was just this bit that you and I pull on one another when we're out somewhere where we say, oh, shit, that's Mike Vrabel, but it's not really Mike Vrabel, just someone that looks vaguely similar to Mike Vrabel.
I guess we'll never know. We'll never know.
We'll never know.
All right, so we got a couple of big milestones coming up. Obviously, I'm getting new eyes next week, so we will not have a show next weekend.
Okay,
so no show next Thursday. Sorry to everybody, I'm getting new eyes.
Yeah.
So we kind of are in this weird space where that's scheduled where we have free agency, we have the combine, and all this kind of stuff. So I guess this kind of be our kind of free agent show, combine show.
You know, where we're at right now. We'll just live in the moment. Live in the moment show.
And you were on a podcast earlier this week. It's typically hosted by two people.
Yeah.
It was then you, and typically it'd be guests, so that'd mean 3 people, but the other person did not show up. But talk about the podcast you did with Major Keys. Is that right?
Yeah, Marquise. So he had me on. I had told him like I'm like 30 deep into this Edge class, and he said, "Well, hey, like,
I am 30 deep.
Careful there
in an Edge."
And so he was like, "Hey, let's talk about the Edge Rush group in the upcoming class." And so I went on. It's up on Twitter. I don't have his handle ready. It's at Major Keys, but Marquise writes for I can't remember the name of the site either. I'm a piece of shit for this, but
really, I really didn't prepare you for this.
No. Really, really talented writer. I suggest following him on Twitter. Bright mind in the space, but we talked about the edge rushers. We talked about this draft class. We talked about some free agent targets we liked. We talked about kind of the state of the Titans edge group, how they're edging at the moment, if you will. And it was a great show. You can go check that out on Twitter.
Okay, so, man, we, like normal, don't really prepare for the show as far as what we're going to talk about.
I prepared in my head tonight.
Yeah. Braylon S. Green on Facebook is asking the same question that old blind Joe asked you on Twitter. So I think this would be a good transition to answer that.
I need to pull up Joe's question.
I mean, you can if you want. We can use
I've got it
Braylon's
handy.
Green.
Okay, we can use that one too then. Okay. So this is Joe's question.
Okay, read that while I search for something else.
I always listen on the podcast after. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm starting to. We'll go. Okay. I keep hearing Braden and his elk talk about they would like to drop down a little.
Braden is who?
Braden Gall.
Okay. So this is a good because you're going to be hosting next week, and I have the same awful habit where I just assume everybody knows who Braden is.
Oh,
or I assume everybody knows that Jeremiah Love, just for example, everybody knows who Jeremiah Love. Not that he's a running back, not that he's a. This is good right here.
I keep hearing Braden Gall of 440 Sports and his elk. I don't know.
Ilk?
I don't know if that's a typo or not.
No, it's ilk.
It says elk.
Yeah, well, he's blind. He can't see that he fucked it up.
I don't know. Whoever is he calling Nick Suss an elk?
No, it's ilk.
Okay. I keep hearing Braden and his elk talk about they would like to drop down a little in the draft to get Lemon or somebody in Makai Lemon or somebody in another couple of picks. Do you see anybody wanting to move up to 4? What would they be moving up for? And would you be in favor of this?
Okay, so this is a great question because Braylon S. Green on Facebook says, what do y'all think about trading back and getting more picks, even swapping picks? Now, when I said this was a great question, this is on me. I did not fully read the rest of the question.
Okay, good. Well, that happens from time
That happens all the time. And then he goes, so let's start it over. Blind Joe and his elk, his harem of elks, asked about trading back and would people trade up to the number 4 spot.
What would they trade up for?
Braylon Green said, what do you all think about trading back and get more picks, even swapping picks with the Eagles and bringing back A.J. Brown? We need a real number 1 receiver. Okay. So if the Eagles trade A.J. Brown today, they lose $20 million in cap space.
In cap space.
That's cap space.
That's cap space.
In cap space.
Yeah.
I don't know how that even looks in a trade. So, let's not even worry about, first off, A.J. Brown. His best chance to win another Super Bowl, by the way, he has one, to win another Super Bowl is a lot closer with the Eagles than it is with the Titans.
Yeah, for sure.
So, he's not going to want to come here regardless.
But do we know that A.J. Brown covets that as a trait in a playing
Yeah, because he's a wide receiver. I mean,
it's not just money,
right? Well, do you see the guy? was it Jason McIntyre that was on
The guy that said Mike Evans never sniffed the Super Bowl?
yeah, Mike Evans never when he's
idiot.
literally like licking a Lombardi trophy.
Yeah,
There's pictures of him.
What a stupid fuck. How do these people get platforms?
Right. Like that guy has a platform every week. And first off, the way he was even talking about Mike Evans is like, is he just reading Mike Evans' Wikipedia page?
It might have been. Well, I don't know Jason McIntyre.
But the fact that he thought that Mike Evans never even sniffed a Super Bowl.
That's crazy.
The dude has won a fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here?
Stoney, Zach and I pulled that up in the prod room at the same time, and I was mad. I don't even like Mike
makes
Evans
me
like
mad.
that.
It's the stupidest fucking thing. Like, that guy will never. And here's the thing, and this is a big thing for me, is like, that guy will never be held accountable for that. He'll continue to be on the same time, the same spot on Colin Cowherd's show because that got views.
I'll tell you what makes me mad is that I didn't know Jason McIntyre from the crack in my ass until this story. And now that this story's out, I know who Jason McIntyre is, and it pisses me off that now people know who he is because he said something stupid.
Well, it's like the whole thing about writing about Tua Tagovailoa and, this cap space, that cap space.
Yeah.
The Titans should do this, Titans should do that. I'll be honest. Peek behind the curtain. I'm sorry, JT.
Uh-oh.
JT sent us that picture of the offseason that he was assigned to do.
Which was a good offseason.
We're going to get there. Assigned to do based off of the Tua Tagovailoa trade.
Yeah.
Like, if the Titans trade Tua Tagovailoa, here's how the rest of the offseason could play out. He sent it. And I really initially typed out what that is the biggest fucking waste of time.
Yeah.
I didn't really change much.
No.
But I was like, okay, that may be too mean because he did put in the work.
He put in the work, and it looks good. Like
and it looks fine. Does it look A+ fine like I maybe initially said? Probably not. But to the point of the whole, like, Jason McIntyre doesn't know that Mike Evans did this. And then, like, we have Matt Harmon, who I love Matt Harmon. His technical and data and film work with wide receivers out of this world.
Matt Harmon, is he the route guy that does
the route perception guy.
Route perception, yeah. Reception perception.
Yeah, reception perception. Fantastic resource. But he puts out there into the ether that the Tennessee Titans should trade and take on cap space for Tua Tagovailoa, and then this should happen, that should happen, that should happen, this should happen. But he just said that. And everybody ran with it. And it is the stupidest fucking thing. Because this is nothing like the Brock Osweiler situation where it was $16-something million. We're talking about, I believe for the Tennessee Titans was like in the 40s. Would acquire, 54 for the Titans to acquire it. That's cap space. So let me pull it up. I actually have, Spotrac actually did the job for us. Give me 1 second.
We did start early. Bustin just got here. What's up, Bustin?
So the Tennessee Titans would acquire a cap hit of $42.9 million. Let's round up.
Whew.
Dead cap would be $54 million. For a backup quarterback.
My God.
Now, you get a draft pick in that situation.
Yeah, but what's the exchange? What's the draft pick?
Who knows? And this is such a stupid conversation because it's not going to fucking happen. I'll tell you this. I'll do the John McClane. John McClane.
I was about to say what?
McClane.
Die Hard?
Wait a minute. Which one's Die Hard and which one's the fat guy that is the Houston guy?
They're both John McClane.
Okay, so I'm going to go John McClane, fat guy.
John McCain was the politician.
That is true. I will go naked around the Demumbrian little angels spitting in each other's mouth or whatever that thing is over there.
Yeah.
I will go naked around that if Tua is a Tennessee Titan because of a trade.
I'll show some hole if if Tua's a Tennessee
I mean,
Titan.
it's just such the fucking, and I hate that we actually gave it breath, but it kind of ties back into this whole situation.
Listen.
Like, guys, we have to understand that a guy from Yahoo Sports that happens to be a brilliant wide receiver mind is throwing out stuff about trades and free agency. Like, why are we giving that real air?
Well, I mean, I'm guilty of it too. Like sometimes you feel like, oh, this would be a fun idea to play around with. You throw it out there, and then people are like up in arms and take it very, very seriously.
Yeah, I understand why he did it.
Yeah, but also
The fact that everybody took the bait.
I know that's the part. It's like, just be more alert here, head on a swivel kind of deal.
You know why?
Why?
Well, it's because they all wasted their time talking already, and they blew through their load. Premature off-season ejaculation with let's all go ahead and do this, and this, a perfect off-season.
Yeah.
Dude, we haven't even got close to free agency. We haven't even hit the combine. You guys already blew through that. It's a lack of creativity.
Save that for May.
Yeah. They have to rely on other people to come up with their topics, I guess I would say.
We're teetering on a topic that's been on my mind this week. With
let's teeter. Let's teeter over the other totter.
Yeah, I'm just like scrolling Twitter and I'm seeing all these film clips of people posting like, oh, this is my big board, how I have these 10 safeties. I'm like, I don't know who the fuck you are. Like, where do all these draft experts just come from all of a sudden?
Well, some people would say they're probably saying the same thing about you.
I know. Well, I mean, they probably are. They probably are. But and it's not meant to be a knock, but it's just it just kind of reminds me what ties this to the Matt Harmon discussion here. And not that we're putting Matt Harmon on trial or anything, but just
no.
his examples.
He listen. I don't think Matt Harmon really truly expected articles and tweets and whole radio shows built around this. You know what I told I brought it up. When did this pop up, Ross? Was this Tuesday? Monday night into Tuesday?
I think. Yeah, earlier in the week, yeah.
So I brought it up, and Ross can back this up. So in the prod room, I brought it up to Blaine and say, hey, did you see this tweet about the Titans train for Tua, but they get a pick with Tua? Mm-hmm. And he goes, no, but if I did, I would just scroll and right off past it.
Yeah.
Like I would just kept on scrolling.
So,
and then that's really what maybe more people should do when it comes to Twitter and social media.
The point I was getting at was like, I think this is a good spot for us to kind of step back, take a pause, and just remind people you don't have to engage with every single tweet that you see.
Yeah.
Be careful, consider the source when you're consuming information, that sort of stuff. That's all I'm saying.
Well, and what really prevented me from, there was a lot of times I really wanted to jump in. Mm-hmm. And then there were discussions over the cap space and the amount that it would cost everybody and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then people would be like, no, that's to someone that's saying, hey, I saw this. Here's my interpretation of it. Because not everybody is a capologist like me.
Yeah.
And then people would get mad at that person and they call that person stupid without actually just explaining the math behind it. And and I've come to find out the reason people won't explain math is because they themselves don't understand the math. And I think that when you have to talk down to someone instead of just saying, hey, I know that you think the cap hit, I believe, let me pull it back up. Let me pull my notes back up. I know that you believe the cap hit is $54,000, but that's really just the dead cap hit.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what the actual cap hit would be. And here's how we come to that number, and here's what that means for this particular team. And I think that lack of patience to actually just say something very simple in a tweet where someone can understand it is showing a lack of ignorance. Because you're trying to be like, well, that number's wrong, but I can't explain to you why that number's wrong because I don't know myself.
Yeah. It's the same thing. You talk about tape. People say some crazy stuff about these prospects, and it's like, okay, well, what game should I watch to see this?
Yeah.
And then they go quiet because they don't know.
Right. And I think someone today, I don't know I think it was Curtis.
Shout out Curtis.
Well,
regardless, I'm just saying,
but Curtis did say, like, I want someone different. I want a running style different than Tony Pollard or something like that today. I don't know if it was on Buck's show or Ramon's show, Ramon and Will. And he said something like that. And I almost responded, because I saw it. I almost responded on the Warner for Five, the Zone chat. Well, what kind of running style do you want? Because you hear PK get asked by Brian Dable earlier this week, like, okay, you may have it. And this was not Brian Dable trying to attack PK or anything.
He wasn't being a dick. It was
like, hey, you used the word identity. Here's what identity means to me. What does identity mean to you? And then we get a lot of like flabbergasted, like, and then what does it take to get a first down? Like,
yeah.
And I think what PK was trying to get to is like, you know, he had a real hard on for all the fourth down decision making.
Yeah.
That Mike McCoy and Brian Callahan failed to really reconcile, which also Mike Vrabel also failed to reconcile with, and we never hear about that. But, you know, like all that, and I just don't think he knew how to verbalize that because he got confronted.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, we got to kind of understand that if you can only criticize but never explain, those people have no clue how to explain it because they don't really know what they're talking about. Now, let me say this real quick. I don't believe that was the case with PK or anything like that, and I don't believe that's the case
it's just an example.
Just an example of, like, if you don't know how the salary cap works, you don't know what you mean by culture, identity, this and that, and third downs and fourth downs and all that kind of stuff, and you can't explain it, don't get mad at people who want to know more, and don't get mad at people who may get it wrong. Like, I just kind of look at it and just be saying that you calling someone else, and again, this is a totally different situation than the whole coaching situation, but like, if someone says that the dead money or cap hit is this, and you just call them an idiot, you yourself are the idiot because you don't have the patience or you don't have the knowledge on how to properly educate someone else who may not know how to get that information.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not very considerate. I mean, just like, don't be a dick too. That's part of it. Yeah. I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
I don't know. We really just got off on a huge tangent.
Yeah. Well, it's just, I don't know. It kind of feels like we're getting that point of the season, the off season, I should say, where like it's already like the conversations about draft prospects and all this stuff about scheme and T'Vondre Sweat that you and I have hashed out that.
Oh, and people think the whole thing about T'Vondre Sweat, the question that Easton asked, is an indictment of T'Vondre Sweat, and even Blaine, you know, he heard that I asked him for his opinion. He gave his opinion. But, like, at the same time, it's just not – it's about the larger view of how they view the roster.
Yeah.
Everybody has a clean – if you listen to how Gus Bradley talked, and even Brian Dable talked about this roster in both their press conferences, everybody's is a clean slate.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me.
And they're not anywhere close to doing the – because if you – for those that may not know, this is the last Darkness Day retreat for the college scouting process, where they have locked themselves in a room for 17 days straight, and they've been reviewing draft film. Now it's time to review the rest of the roster. They're going to go to the combine, review some more stuff there. They're going to hear and fill out. Like, they pretty much told you this scheme, this roster, it's not set. So if you took anything out of these press conferences that says that's an indictment on player A, that's a pro on player B, you did not listen.
I watched the press conferences and thought, oh, they're still trying to figure this whole thing out. Like, I don't even know that they have a real scheme in place just yet. But the bigger picture here to put a bow on this conversation is that it's just we're already having these exhausting conversations. I think I would like to just take the moment to tell people to be really careful about what falling for rage bait, falling for clickbait. This time of year, the conversations are going to be pretty zany.
Yeah, I mean, and the conversations tend to get a little bit flip-floppies, you know. We've seen a lot of flip-flopping from a lot of people. People have said you can't pick, Jeremiah Love. At the same time, we're preaching to maybe keep your mind open. Now they're like, well, you got to keep your mind open by Jeremiah Love. You have to cut Calvin Ridley. Oh, well, we say, it may not be a good time to cut Calvin Ridley. Oh, well, maybe it's not a good time to cut Calvin Ridley. Like, the same thing about Lloyd Cushenberry. I think there's a real conversation about Lloyd Cushenberry where you look at the free agency class and you're like, I don't know if I'm really ready to cut Lloyd Cushenberry, because if I cut Lloyd Cushenberry and I can't guarantee one of these guys, then I have to start Corey Levin. I may have to start Jackson Slater. I may have to start a rookie. Yeah,
and this ain't a rookie class to be diving into week one centers.
I just, this whole offseason, I guess really the last 2 years, I've got a more firm grasp on the best way to talk about offseason stuff is that, hey, I understand Jeremiah Love, Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles are the three best players in this draft. Whatever order you want to put them in whatever order. But they are inarguably the three only blue chippers and the three best players in this draft.
Yeah.
By a wide margin.
I would agree with that. I think there are people out there that would not agree with that.
Yeah, but they're idiots. So, I ain't got time for fools who want to say, like, it's like the people who say, like, David Bailey's too stiff, but, like, say Femi Oladejo in the same earlier in a few months ago will say, after the Raiders game, finally it told, here's Femi Oladejo looking good. And then, like, they're going to say David Bailey's too stiff, while David Bailey is maybe stiff and to a certain degree, but he's not Femi Oladejo stiff, so let's ignore that because he's already been drafted.
Yeah.
It's the same people who don't know anything about Devondre Sweat and what the film showed. Same people that, don't know anything about Cam Ward or don't know anything about Elikai Mayer. Like, I get it. It's to the point where we were talking with Easton in this draft cycle. We were talking with Easton. He was like, having a hard time, reconciling between the people that he trusts saying that David Bailey is a top 5 pick and then the people that say David Bailey's not even worth being in the top 15.
Being like the general premise being like ball knowers in general seem divided on this guy.
Yeah. And he gave us 2 examples of David Bailey being outside the top 15, but we know there's so many examples of him being in the top 5. And it's just like, who should we trust? Should we trust the guy that thinks Cam Skattebo is a top 50 pick? Because Tristan, like, no offense, Tristan, but like Tristan thought Cam Skattebo was a top 50 pick. Like Cam Skattebo should be in the second round, for the Tennessee Titans. And should we trust that guy? Should we trust the guy that covers the Jets, who maybe, and it's just it's to a point where there's so much information and everybody, I think we have gotten so off the rails in this podcast.
Yeah, we haven't even started the topic we wanted to discuss tonight.
I guess let me put it here. I've tried my best not to put down another prospect just because I like this prospect.
Sure. Absolutely.
And so I think what we have done a good job doing as a podcast, as draft analysts, creating our draft guides, is given objective opinion and then placing that film review Like, we don't go in watching, well, Ruben Bain has short arms. I want to make sure that Ruben Bain with short arms, I'm going to ignore anything that he does good.
I'm only going to show the clips
of him with short arms.
Yeah.
You know, like he can't reach the top of the shelf, or,
yeah, exactly.
His mom has to feed him. You know, whatever it may be for people with short arms. I wouldn't know. I have a large wingspan, larger than Ruben Bain, actually, factually. But
is that true?
That I'm pretty sure that's true. We'll see. We've measured we've measured my wingspan.
I want to measure my wingspan because I've got short arms, but I'm so wide and thick that I feel like I got a decent wingspan.
And that's part of the wingspan, right?
Yeah.
So that they have to tear down other prospects. I look at it objectively, and we'll later on in the podcasting season get into best player available versus all this kind of stuff. But Ruben Bain, Arvell Reese, David Bailey, we talked about this the last 2 weeks. They all have their flaws. They all have their pros. They all have their fits. I don't have to say that, David Bailey is the fucking rusted ass,
He's the Tin Man.
He's the Tin Man. I don't have to say that, Ruben Bain is the cowardly lion. I don't have to say that Arvell Reese is the scarecrow to get my point across.
Yeah.
That's sensationalism that does not require analysis.
Yeah. And that's pretty prevalent this time of year. I think the wiser move is to acknowledge that the entirety of the NFL draft is a massive gray area, and that you have to acknowledge all of these guys are talented. So much of it depends on fit, where they land, the circumstances around them, that objectively speaking, you can come up with scenarios where each player finds a path to success. Therefore, which is something I try to convey, I mean, very, very few times that I can think of, if any at all, on this podcast, I've said, this player sucks. There's no way they're going to be successful in the NFL. The trick is to find how many likely paths do they have to success. And you don't have to put down other players to get to that point, because other players have their own version of this multiverse where there's several timelines where they can find success. So it sounds like, vague platitudes or whatever, but it is the objective truth about the NFL is that it's not always, I would argue, when it comes to the NFL draft, it's rarely cut and dry, where a guy you just watch and he's going to be successful no matter what. Easy in the benefit of hindsight to confirm priors on guys, stuff like that, but you never truly know. And I think to act as if you truly know before a player's even been drafted, I think, to me, that is a sign that whoever you're consuming information from probably hasn't really done the homework on it or thought it through.
Yeah, and I would also look at it this way, that the same can be said about young players on your roster currently, because Cedric Gray.
Sure.
Cedric Gray,
great example.
A lot of tackles.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Cedric Gray looked really good. But can he take the next step?
Yeah.
What is the ceiling of his next step? We don't know. So when you're planning the roster right now, and you already know that Cedric Gray has deficiencies covering.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have to decide, is that deficiencies covering because of the system, because of the player, and how can I correct that? And how much can I correct it? But how much you can correct it and how much you can raise that ceiling for that particular player should not prevent you from getting a linebacker.
Yeah.
It's like when Tennessee Titans had Nick Westbrook-Ikine, and everybody's like, well, you don't need a wide receiver because you have Nick Westbrook-Ikine, and you have this, you have that, you have that. And I'm like, but we're trying to raise the floor. You're always, even when Robert Saleh was doing the press conference and talking about Big Jeff, he says, I'm taking him to the next level.
Yeah.
Okay, so every player has to go up to the next level. If they can't go up to the next level, they don't need to be on the team. If Cody Barton can't be on the next level, doesn't even be on the team. If Cedric Gray can only go up to a certain level, you still need 3 linebackers.
Yeah.
It's like the people that want to cut Calvin Ridley. Cut Calvin Ridley. Well, you needed 2 wide receivers before you cut Calvin Ridley. Now you need 3. Oh, well, Tyjae Spears, last year of his contract. Tony Pollard, last year of his contract. Okay, so if you cut Tony Pollard, well, now you need 2 more running backs.
It's creating needs, yeah.
So we can't create needs at the same time
Cutting off
that you're trying to make the roster better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I look at this whole roster, and of course, we were supposed to be talking about trades.
Mm-hmm.
when you look at this roster, let's get to the title of the show, and then we'll come back to the trades.
Did we ever even answer Joe's question?
We did not. We're going to get back to it later.
Okay.
I promise we will get to Joe's question.
I'm kind of with the Vansies. It kind of feels like we just had to get this off our chest right now.
But when you get to the point of what you see in free agency, what you see the off-season market. The off-season market is the free agency, the trade value, the trade market, if you will, and the draft.
Yeah.
When you look at that, the quickest path to success for this team, and really any team, but for this particular team, is to attack aggressively the defense side of the ball. And that's going to sound counterintuitive to, hey, you have a young quarterback, got to build around the young quarterback. But the market dictates right now that the value and impact players are on the defense side of the ball. It's deep in the draft, too. So if you address certain needs in free agency, edge rusher, defensive end, cornerback, maybe linebacker, you can put those needs off to help get the offense back to where it needs to be.
I would argue that if your assertion is they have to build up the offense, that they have to, and I'm just walk with me here. This is not definitive me stating my opinion. If your opinion of this offseason is they've got to stack weapons around Cam, or Cam needs a wide receiver 1, Cam needs a true playmaker. To me, what you're really saying is they would have to spend the 4th overall pick on either Jeremiah Love or maybe Jordan Tyson, maybe Mekhi Lemon, because of what the market dictates right now. That player is not available in free agency. I personally, I don't think this is a very deep free agent wide receiver class, which kind of got the gears turning on the whole premise of why are we trying to run Calvin Ridley out of town for me? And then I look in the draft, and I think it's a really solid day 2, day 3 wide receiver class where you can add a guy to your receiving core that is going to improve it as a whole, but you're still not going to get that wide receiver 1. Similarly with the running back class, like I know everybody wants Kenneth Walker. Maybe that's an option, but I don't even know that if it gets to the draft, it's a draft full of committee guys to me, except for Jeremiah Love, who if you're going to get, you're probably going to have to spend the 4th overall pick. So then it becomes, for me, to add another layer to this thing, well, okay, is that where the value's at? And could you get away with that if you rebuilt the defense through free agency? And I say, well, the market, if we're playing to the strengths of the market, yeah, you probably could retool this defense through free agency. So maybe you do, and maybe that is on the table. But I think it's interesting how all of this seems to be shaping up in favor of the Titans. I just don't know. I'm still not sure if I'm there or not with offense being the pick at number 4 overall. I go back and forth on it.
Well, I think it matters. Free agency is the first step. And I think that Team Ramrod brings up a fantastic point here. So if you're looking at Breece Hall is a great example.
Okay.
Okay, so Breece Hall obviously has the age factor. He obviously has the connection factor to this coaching staff. But if you look at Breece Hall, for example, and we're going to get into the discussion of Breece Hall versus Tony Pollard here.
Didn't Breece Hall hate Robert Saleh?
No, I Googled it. He did not.
That was debunked.
I think that was like Garrett Wilson or something.
Okay.
Okay, so $12,000 AAV, so average annual value for
Breece Hall?
For Breece Hall per year.
Only costs $12,000 per year?
Yeah, but here's the thing. Tony Pollard is cheaper.
He's cheaper than $12,000 per year?
Tony Pollard?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like $7 million. Tony Pollard.
$7 million's more than $12,000.
Oh, sorry. I see what you're saying now. I was not catching it.
We had a great
$12 million.
Great potential.
$12 million.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, sorry. $12 million. Breece Hall last year had 1,065 rush yards, 350 reception yards.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, Tony Pollard had 1,082 rush yards and 206 receiving yards. Last year, they both had 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Okay? So let me just put it to you this way. Rushing attempts, 243 rush attempts for Breece Hall, 1,065 rush yards.
Okay.
242 rush attempts for Tony Pollard, 1,082 rush yards.
Damn.
Just saying that those that want Breece Hall and those that hate Tony Pollard, I just don't get it quite yet.
I don't either.
That's with, listen, maybe you make the same argument with Breece Hall. But Tony Pollard, they refuse to run the fucking ball.
Yeah, that's not a Tony Pollard issue.
I just don't understand how people can view last year and say, and really the last 2 years, which, by the way, Tony Pollard is one of the most consistent 1,000-yard rushing backs since he's gotten into the league as a full-time starter.
He deserves a medal for what he's done here the past 2 years.
I don't get why everybody is so quick to replace him with Breece Hall other than age.
Do you think it's similar to the Calvin Ridley thing where it's just like the perception of these players is bad because the Titans have been really bad over the last 2 years? So it's kind of like, oh, well, they need new players across the board without really diving into like how hard Tony Pollard has played, diving into Calvin Ridley's skill set and what he could bring to this offense. Like, I feel like we don't, just because the Titans suck does not mean that everything about this roster has to change or upgrade.
Here's where I think I land on the Tony Pollard conversation is that we got so used to seeing Derrick Henry run a certain way that, oh, Tony Pollard is not a 6'2" freak that does it this way.
Yeah.
We saw how Chris Johnson ran. Oh, well, he's not a 4'2" freak that does it this way. We saw how Eddie George played. Well, he's not a guy that just falls forward every time.
Yeah.
Falls forward every time. Tony Pollard, if you go back and watch the Dallas tape when he was with Ezekiel Elliott, he started surpassing Ezekiel Elliott on that depth chart and started being more productive on a per-play basis. You got that here where last year nobody was scared of the run game or the offensive line.
No.
And you got that this year where nobody was scared of the rookie quarterback, and he still produced 1,000 yards. And he still produced 10-yard chunk plays at a really high rate.
And
stayed healthy and available.
Like and running hard when the circumstances were so that I don't think anyone would have blamed Tony Pollard if he was like, you know what, I'm going to take this play off. Like, I'm going to put Tajay in. I'm going to sit on the bench.
And he just turns 29 at some point over the next year. Like, he just Let me look at.
He answered the bell, though. He answered the bell these past 2 seasons.
He turns 29 just in a few days, April 30th. For me, when you want to kind of look at the big picture of Tony Pollard and all these guys, is that, and just talking positional value and all that kind of stuff, and as I'm all tangled up,
You got to get them cords out of you.
people think that Tony Pollard people think that Tony Pollard was bad last year. Incorrect. I do agree drafting Love solves the problem. But also, to draft Love, are you holding on to Tony Pollard, or are you going ahead and cutting Tony Pollard?
I mean, listen, there's a football nerd in me that's like, ooh,
Just keep it all.
What could you do with Pollard, Love, and Spears?
Yeah. So it gets to the point then you do all this stuff. You have to do the roster math.
Mm-hmm.
I look at it this way. People are like, well, if Pollard suddenly starts to suck, that was a bad decision.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's say that you let Pollard go in free agency. You sign Breece Hall to a more expensive contract.
Yeah.
And then you kind of remember that Breece Hall only has one 1,000-yard rushing season out of 4.
Yeah.
His own team didn't even want to do his 5th-year option.
Mm-hmm.
And he's never played a full season outside of one.
Haven't they drafted a couple of his potential replacements?
And they've constantly tried to draft replacements.
Yeah.
So taking into all that in account, what if you sign Breece Hall to a more expensive contract and he becomes injured? He never gets 1,000 yards.
Or he sucks.
Well, yeah, he never gets 1,000 yards. If you can't get 1,000 yards as the main running back, which is what he would be,
the bell cow,
then you're not as good as Tony Pollard.
Yeah.
So just saying that this idea that, oh, well, we are fearful of Tony Pollard, but we're not fearful of Breece Hall, who only has one 1,000-yard rushing season out of 4.
Mm-hmm.
And Tony Pollard has 4 straight 1,000 yards.
Consecutive.
4 straight 1,000-yard rushing seasons. 2 with Dallas, 2 with Tennessee. But we for sure know that Breece Hall will always be a 1,000-yard rusher when we actually kind of do know Tony Pollard is.
It's kind of a grass ain't always greener situation.
Right.
It's like if you really dig into it, it's I don't know why you would want to get rid of Tony Pollard.
Because the people want to
Hall.
feel vindicated. And that this also goes back to like the draft, player analysis, and all the stuff. Like everybody views what Gus Bradley said about T'Vondre Sweat. When asked about T'Vondre Sweat, that's all negative when it's not. They want to hear what they want to hear. And the people that always hated Tony Pollard because that meant no Derrick Henry don't want to give Tony Pollard his props.
What would you say is, and again, I don't want to bash Curtis. I think you said it was Curtis that asked this.
Yes.
What is Tony Pollard's running style? Like, can you define Tony Pollard's running style to begin with?
Chameleon.
So
that's how I've always thought of him.
So you don't want that.
People don't. People don't want to get because the people like they can't run between the tackles, and I'm thinking, well, did you watch this year?
Yeah,
like he would just suddenly be 10 yards down the field. Now, is he 30 yards down the field, 40 yards down the field? No, he's not. But is he getting you like 10 yards down the field? Yeah.
The thing, I ask you that to say, I think Tony Pollard's running style is about as complete as you can get at the in today's NFL. Tony Pollard runs. I know he's not the biggest back, but man, he runs hard. He can churn tough yards. I think he has some versatility. I don't think, it's not a case where if like, oh man, if he gets in the open field, he's gone. But he can pick up chunk yards. He's versatile enough, a weapon receiving the football, and he's a tough runner in between the tackles. Like chameleon, great word for his skill set. I think that is exactly what you want in the modern NFL.
Well, and also I think
what's different from chameleon? Go ahead.
Well, I mean, to your point, it's like, look at this offense the last 2 years. Who are you scared of through the air? So we know that every defensive genius wants to stop the run.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the offensive line has been fairly easy to stop the run against. Now, once they got Bill Callahan out, you saw for example, yards before contact start getting in the positive. It's been in terrible negative 32, but at least start getting in the positive. So the run game scheme kind of helped. And that's when you saw dedication to the run. That's when you saw Tony Pollard, Tyjae Spears start breaking off big runs.
Yeah.
But maybe we have to understand that, like, Tony Pollard's who he's always been. He's been a 4.6 yards per carry guy.
Good number.
When does that stop being a good number?
Yeah, I don't know. And again, I come back to, I just think the last couple of years have sucked and people want change. And that's it. And I think the conversation is similar with Calvin Ridley because I do think there are still ways that he can help this offense.
Right.
And I still think Tony Pollard can help this offense.
Everybody's, and I think this gets into an interesting discussion before. I really don't want to get in this discussion tonight, but it's like upside, ceiling, floor.
Yeah. Okay.
Here's the thing. Here's what I'll say about Tony Pollard's ceiling and floor, because I think that there is questions about his upside. Tony Pollard will never be a 2,000-yard rusher.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Pollard is a 1,000-yard rusher with a 800-yard floor.
Yeah, I can vibe with that.
Okay. There you go. I mean, like, why is that so bad?
I will offer my own personal opinion on the Tony Pollard situation. I think, as I sit here tonight, I'm comfortable saying I'm such a fan of Tony Pollard, appreciate what he's done for this franchise the last 2 years. I think I'm only willing to part with Tony Pollard if it means
Jeremiah Love.
Love.
I'm not willing to part with Tony Pollard just for more expensive Breece Hall.
Yes,
that prevents you from being more roster optional later on down the road.
Mm-hmm. And I don't even know, like, okay, what's Breece Hall's running style? Is it more conducive to success on offense than Tony Pollard's?
One cut.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I don't think so. I'm with Ross.
So Breece Hall would be a little bit closer to Tyjae Spears, because I feel like Tyjae Spears is a little bit of a one-cut guy right now. And I don't think that's who he was on film in college, but that kind of feels like at least how the Titans have made him feel.
I feel like Tyjae, I'm curious to see what Tyjae is in this new offense, because I do think there's potential as a pass catcher on screens, in space, running routes. And I don't know. I just don't know if Breece Hall's that guy either.
Okay. Read Joe's question again.
Damn it.
Old blind Joe.
I love Joe. I was about to text Joe this week because I hadn't heard from him in a minute. And then I got this late last night. I was watching some Keontae Scott tape. I'm sorry. I got it at 3:44 p.m. I didn't read it until last night.
You're about as blind as he is.
Yeah. Do you see anybody wanting to move up to 4? What would they be moving up for, and would you be in favor of this?
Okay, so since over the last 5 years of drafts, so 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, there have been 24 first-round trades.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that, the day of the draft.
It ain't been happening weeks before.
No.
The night
'Cause
of.
I'm not including like the Bryce Young and
Yeah.
Bears whole deal.
Yeah.
Day of the draft. Day of the first round. 24.
Mm-hmm.
Out of that 24 trade ups in the first round of the draft, trade ups,
Yeah.
3 have been for quarterbacks. Jackson Dart, J.J. McCarthy, and Justin Fields. Because the Texans with the Cardinals was a trade up for Will Anderson. For those that may not remember, just want to throw that out there. So Justin Fields in 2021, J.J. McCarthy in 2024, Jackson Dart in 2025.
Yep.
3
Yeah.
out of 24, 12.5% of trade ups have been for running backs.
I think if you
or quarterbacks.
I think if you asked like the average fan, hell, you would have asked me that, and I would have thought the majority of the trade ups would be for the quarterbacks.
You
It's
know
not
what
the
the very last trade of the 2021 draft on the day of for the first round was?
2021?
Very last one.
No, I don't. I don't want to.
The Jets traded up for Elijah Vera Tucker. They traded the 23rd overall pick, the 66th overall pick, and the 86th overall pick in that same draft.
Yeah.
For Elijah Vera Tucker to draft at 14 overall, and the 4th round, 143. So they got 3 top 100 picks in the same draft for Elijah Vera Tucker.
Yeah.
Which I've seen many people want here, who has never stayed fucking healthy in his career.
He's played in like 8 games.
You know
his
the
whole
purple
career?
the purple fish on SpongeBob that is always bandaged up with crutches? That is Elijah Vera Tucker.
Yeah, man, it's been rough. He was a good prospect, but
Great prospect. A tackle prospect that eventually moved into guard, that eventually has never been healthy in his life.
yeah,
That I don't, for the life of me, I'd rather have Kevin Zeitler
that's what I'm saying.
than Elijah
That's
Vera
what I'm
Tucker.
saying. Yeah,
But they got 3 top 100 picks to move up 9 spots for Elijah Vera Tucker.
yeah.
I'm just saying that when you look at this whole situation, someone could trade up for Caleb Downs.
That's What I was gonna say is like Caleb
Jeremiah
Downs,
Love.
Jeremiah Love, Sonny Styles, these blue chip guys for a team that might be there that feels like maybe they're just a position or two away, a piece or two away from contending. I also look at like where is their scarcity in this draft, and I look at the offensive tackle position. Typically, that need is filled with premium investment. You get those guys early in the draft, and you're hearing some rumblings that Francis Mauigoa, Spencer Fano might be in play for the Cardinals at 3. Beyond those guys, man, listen, I like Blake Miller. I like Maxi Hanachor. I like some of these tackles, but there's a lot of developmental guys that have huge risk factor. And I think the 2 guys I'm not really worried about that much in this class are Mauigoa and Fano. And so would you be surprised if a team like panicked out of need and overdrafted one of those guys? No, I wouldn't be surprised. Do I think either of them is worthy of what traditionally the expectations that come with the 3rd overall pick?
Right.
No. But if you need a tackle that can start right away, whew, buddy, your prospects are pretty limited in this draft. So if Arizona takes one, does that then cause another team to say, fuck, we got to go get Spencer Fano? I think that's a realistic situation there. To a lesser extent, you can look at a position like wide receiver where it's like, okay, like the medicals are okay on Jordan Tyson. There are some question marks about some of these other guys. He's the one that we thought, you know what, if he's healthy, he looks like Justin Jefferson out there. So he goes to the combine, the medicals come back, pro day, all that, the process comes through, and it's like, oh, you know what? Shit, we're not worried about the injuries. Well, then he becomes the only guy that stands a chance of becoming that caliber of wide receiver. You don't think a team that may feel like they're a receiver away from competing might look and say, fuck, we better go get that guy? It's possible.
Let me say this. You could include the Kansas City Chiefs in that. But I would also say Kansas City Chiefs should be interested in Jeremiah Love and trade up for Jeremiah Love.
Yeah, because
they are running back. They need a running game, and they've needed one desperately anyway.
Yeah.
But right now, they need a running game, and they are in a roster spot where they could do that.
Yeah. I mean, think about like where the Rams are at. They have a dire need at cornerback. Well,
yes. Caleb Downs could fill that need. Jermon McCoy could fill that need. Travis Hunter, last year, the Browns traded 102, first round, second pick, fourth round, a fourth rounder and a sixth rounder to the Jaguars so they could draft Travis Hunter, but they traded away, they swapped first and gave away a second rounder and a higher fourth rounder and a future first for Travis Hunter. And I would say arguably, and I know that we were high on Travis Hunter. I know that we were high on Abdul Carter, and I still am. I still think that their stories are not written.
1 year, give it time.
But I think Caleb Downs is better, and I think Jeremiah Love is better, and I would say Sonny Styles is the same. So if that is the case, there is an opportunity for trade-ups.
Yeah.
And so I do think you could get a two or three more in addition to the swap, additional 100-yard pick or top 100 picks.
Yeah, I mean, you think about, like, we didn't even talk about the linebacker, but a team like Washington that's right there in the top 10 with, like, Bobby Wagner.
What if someone wants to trade up for Reuben Bain? Are you going to say that Reuben Bain is worth so much? Arvell Reese, same thing. Like, these guys are not must-draft guys. In my opinion, these edge rushers are benefit of a weak draft class.
Yeah. And
doesn't not mean they are not good.
Yeah,
they would be middle of the first round instead of top of the first round in a different draft class.
That kind of ties into what I was about to say here is like if you've got the opportunity to pick up, let's say 2 extra top 100 picks in this year's draft, on the surface, it might not look that great, but I think if you look at the quality of this draft, this may sound crazy to people listening or watching at home. I don't think a third-round pick in this draft gets you someone that is so much worse than what you would get with that first-round pick that it's not worth doing. Like, I think the quality – I've joked with people that this is a draft with 4 rounds of third-rounders before things drop off at the end of it. So, it kind of goes to what we're talking about where, like, if you want one of those blue chip guys, or if you've got a need or you don't have patience to wait on a developmental guy, it serves their purpose to go get that guy, but it also benefits the Titans to acquire more top 100 picks because I think that's where the quality in this class is that it's a draft full. You know, usually they say like, well, like the middle rounds, like that's the belly of the draft. It kind of feels like this year's draft has a bigger belly and it creeps more into the first round than usual.
Andrew K says, how many years in a row have people said weak draft class? Feel like I hear that every year now. I don't know who said that about last year's draft class.
Yeah, the last 2 classes.
Yeah, last two draft classes were
2024's
pretty
class
loaded.
was-
They may be weak at certain positions,
Yeah.
but they were loaded. The difference is that this is a draft built more on depth and starters than it is like all pro guys.
I also think it's wrong. I do this on occasion. I catch myself, so I hand up.
I'm not trying to project into next year. I'm just saying, like, right now, this year, like, these guys, you may be lucky outside of like 3 guys to draft a Pro Bowler.
Yeah. I don't think it's a weak class.
Right.
I think it really lacks star power.
Yeah.
I don't think there's
Well, we agree there's only 3 blue chippers.
there's only 3. I've only got 3
And
blue chippers.
How
I
many
don't think-
first round grades are you even going to get to? Because I would think maybe 7 or 8.
As
Just
far
off the top
as,
of my, I wouldn't put.
I think
I'm going to say something real quick while you're thinking.
okay.
I would say Fernando Mendoza is worse than Cam Ward as a prospect.
That's tough. I've seen people talking about that because it's,
That's just me.
I agree.
I'm just saying, like, I understand there's a lot of great PR
yeah.
for Fernando Mendoza because this turned into a weak quarterback class,
Yeah.
much like last year did.
Mm-hmm.
But I think people realize I don't think there's a huge difference between Fernando Mendoza and Ty Simpson. And I don't think there's a huge difference between Ty Simpson and Garrett Nussmeier. But I just view this class way worse in reality than what I really thought it was going to be. But like Cade Klubnik, is he even going to get drafted? And we were talking about Cade
Carson
Klubnik last
Beck.
year, Drew Aller, like all these guys, and none of those guys showed up, but Fernando Mendoza showed up.
I do still love me some Drew Aller. I don't think I can quit Drew Aller, but to your point, I've had trouble with Mendoza. I really feel like he gets the benefit of there not being like a second and third guy.
Like he
in this
goes to the
quarterback
Raiders
class,
and goes
like-
to Kubiak. Okay.
Well, hey, I don't know if you watch McShay's show, but he's talked to some people that are like, I don't know, like we might not should be treating Mendoza like a lock for 1 overall.
I wouldn't be surprised. That to me seems a little crazy.
Well, it's they're citing
mean-
I'm talking to scouts that say he's a guy, he's not the guy. We've heard from Tom Brady that like he doesn't believe quarterbacks are developed, that he wants a veteran presence in the room. That I'm just saying, like we kind of jumped pretty quickly on Mendoza at 1 to the Raiders, and the book is closed, story's over. And I think the evaluation is a lot more complicated than that. I think there are valid reasons to be concerned about Fernando Mendoza, and I think he's farther away from being an impact starter than people think. That said, I do still think he's the best quarterback in this class.
Yeah.
And if you need a guy,
That's your guy.
he's probably the best choice if you need somebody to start sooner rather than later.
I don't really think there is a guy like, to me, Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, I would place both. And I would probably, I'm not going to lie, I would probably have placed Shadur Sanders over Fernando Mendoza too. And people may think I'm crazy for that because I told you about Fernando Mendoza heading into the season. Like, have you watched this kid? I think he could be something. But then I also watch how this Indiana offense went, and I kind of get the sense that there's a lot of PR stuff out there because, like, oh, he trains just like Drew Brees and this and that. And I'm like, I don't know if I really see it on the film.
I feel like with Mendoza, there's a lot of predetermined throws because of that offense.
Right.
There's a lot of spot throws, which
So I just want to
give him
say,
credit. He
just real
hits
quick,
them.
let's. I don't want to get too in the weeds on this, so I'm going to rein it in here. Just real quick.
Mm-hmm.
That says a lot about this particular draft class. Then I think it also says a lot that guys with huge question marks in all 3 of the defensive ends,
Yeah.
Arvell Reese, David Bailey, and Ruben Bain, who have all three different question marks, says a lot about this draft class.
My daggum undies hanging out of my shorts. I hope people can't see that.
But that's the point, is that, like, not the point of your dong hanging out, but at what point do you separate need from best player available? And that's not a question we're going to be able to get into tonight. But in the sense of trading up, I could see why teams would trade up, because those three guys, I'm not saying that someone's going to trade up for Sonny Styles, but let's just say there are three blue chippers.
Yeah.
And they're not quarterbacks.
Man.
Someone may be interested in trading up to answer Big Joe's or Blind Joe's question.
To say, like, to finish my thought from earlier, is like, you look at a team like Washington where the roster is not that bad. They had some injuries. Things went sideways this past season, but, like, they don't have a whole lot of, like, oh, shit, they're in trouble if they don't get this done kind of needs. Could see them saying, like, only a few spots for maybe another day 2 pick in this draft. Go get Sonny Styles to come in and take over for Bobby Wagner, who's aging. That is completely feasible, and that's just one example. You talk about the Dallas Cowboys and Caleb Downs. You could talk about Kansas City and Jeremiah Love. And we haven't even talked about, like, I mean, shit, what happens if Fernando Mendoza doesn't go number 1 overall? Do people start scrambling, jockeying for position to try and get him?
I'm going to ask you this. Let's go through a few questions real quick. Knocktrop says, just our luck, we got number 1 pick, and it's not a great quarterback class. We have number 1 salary cap when it's not the best free agent market. I think it's actually a pretty good free agent market. We never really got around to it.
You can fix this.
This defense can be fixed.
Yeah, I mean, you can. Devin Lloyd.
I think it's a much better free agent market on the defensive side.
Yeah.
Where play the market. If it's not a good defensive market, lean in offense. If it's not a good offensive market, lean in the defense. This is a point where you can lean in the defense.
You look at guys like Devin Lloyd, Quincy Williams at linebacker. This edge group, man, I'm stoked about. They're not household names, but there's good
I'd much
players
rather have
out
a
there.
bunch of these guys than have none of those guys and have to spend and hope that Ruben Bain, David Baylor, Arvell Reese turns into something.
Yeah. You just like Kwity Paye, Boye Mafe. I'm a big fan of Kingsley Enagbare. Yetur Gross-Matos is out there. AJ Epinesa is out there. I'm sure I'm forgetting people. Like,
I think AJ
Epinesa,
I think he'd be pretty good in this defense.
And, you know, like, corners. There's some good corners out there, too.
Great corners. And they're all inexpensive compared to the prior corner market, unless someone pulls a Christian Kirk Jacksonville Jaguars thing.
Yeah. I feel like there are some decent guard options out there, too. You need a right guard. You can plug that hole. I think the only area I'm concerned about in free agency is wide receiver.
I'm with you. Okay. This will be the last thing, because we've been talking about, like, concerns with the top 4 picks or the biggest question marks with the top 4 picks. Talking about, at least Reese, Bailey, Bain, and obviously the question mark of the positional value. But Joe Blacko asks, what's Carnell Tate's biggest question mark that is preventing you from putting him in the same breath as those 3 edge rushers or those 3 blue chippers for number 4? Because that's 6 players.
Yeah, I want to hold out on Carnell Tate until the combine. And I kind of want to watch him run. I kind of want to see him do the drills, see what he's like, because I see what he tests like, because I watch the tape and I don't see a guy that has like deep speed, like the pull away kind of speed, the acceleration. I don't think,
because I will say this, Denzel Boston.
Yeah.
He kind of does. You go watch that Wisconsin game. He's so fluid for a 6'3" guy that, like, you see him off the line, then you see him down the field, and you're also looking at all the offensive linemen from Washington doing a human centipede in front of the quarterback who has schizophrenia.
It's rough, brother.
like you're like, dude, how's that dude even already open down there?
Yeah. So I think it's a question of speed. I like Carnell Tate. Like, that's the thing. Like, we talk about putting down players to put others over. Like, I don't want to get into this situation where I talk bad about Carnell Tate. I just, like, he's at least, man, I've got him behind Tyson. I've got him behind Lemon for sure. I'm really high on those two. I don't know where I'm going to land on Tate Boston because, like you said, Boston's kind of a difficult eval because of that offense.
Yeah.
But if I'm drafting a wide receiver based on what this room needs, I'm wanting the speed. I'm wanting the more refined route running ability, the more polished product. And I feel like Carnell Tate's upside is like high-end wide receiver too. I think he's a fine, like, contested catch guy. I think he's got an insane catch radius because he's got long arms, red zone weapon, all that stuff is all well and good. But I think the dynamic he's missing is the dynamic that the Titans need in the room. So that's why I'm kind of like, I want to pump the brakes on Carnell Tate and just kind of see what happens at the combine, see if maybe he tests better than imagined. I just, for the value, it's interesting you bring up Denzel Boston because for the value, I'm thinking I'd rather go somewhere else at 4 and then get Denzel Boston at 35 because I think it's a similar style of receiver,
Right.
but a much better value. And I think Boston might have more upside because the limitations of that offense kind of hide his skill set. He's another guy you watch the combine on because, man, I watched the Washington State tape and he's fucking dominant. He is running right behind guys. He's restacking, defensive back manipulation, like the stuff downfield, faking in before breaking out, getting cornerbacks to bite, all that kind of stuff. Contested catches, like he's a ball winner. He's got the size. Like, I like a lot of his game. I think stylistically he's similar to Carnell Tate, but at a much better value.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's kind of like a lot of people liken him to Drake London, Denzel Boston.
Yeah.
And I kind of see it, but I think he's a glider, man. Like,
he is, man, and it's fun to watch. Like, if you're wanting to see the vision of Denzel Boston, I know it's not a quality opponent, but he just fucking dragged his nuts all over Washington State.
I mean, there's people, and this is not the first time I've seen it, so I don't want to call this person out as the only person I've seen say this, but No Mo Flame says, I think Tate compares well to CD Lamb.
I don't see it.
I'm like, where?
Give me a game to watch. Then I'll see CD Lamb.
That, again,
completely
it's like,
different wide receivers.
Yeah, to me, it's, again, we're not trying to talk bad about Carnell Tate, but it's about the expectations and what you see on film doesn't match what you're saying. I don't get it. Like, Carnell Tate to me,
I've got a good comp for Carnell Tate.
I'm gonna throw one out there. And I don't know if I truly am 100% in on this comp. But it's like T. Higgins, and Corey Davis.
I was going to say Corey Davis, and that was...
Yeah. But, like, I think he's a bigger body than what Corey Davis was coming out of the Western Michigan. Like, Corey Davis was tall.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's as built as what Carnell Tate is.
Mm-hmm.
But I see, like, that's a good wide receiver, too.
Yeah, and that's not a...
that's not a knock on Carnell Tate, but that's not what you drafted for. If you're going to blast the Titans for drafting Corey Davis at 5, you should be drafting the Titans. The idea of the Titans drafted Carnell Tate at 4.
Yeah. So, like, I see people mocking Carnell Tate to the Giants at 5, and I think, you know,
that makes sense, Corey. You already have Malik Neighbors.
You've already got Malik Neighbors.
You already have Wan'Dale Robinson, who's likely going to go back. I'm just, resigned to that fact.
But, like, he's a complement to that receiving room, so the value...
Who says that?
So the value
George
is
Pickens
there.
for Carnell Tate?
No, I don't see that either.
What?
I don't see that.
I mean, Joe Blacko's not saying this. He's just saying lots of people say Pickens for Tate, and I'm just like,
George Pickens is a fucking dog.
Like, I mean, Carnell Tate is not a dog.
No.
And I'm not talking, he's also not insane, but like, you have to be a little bit insane to be the type of dog that George Pickens is. George Pickens Tate, like,
Well, see, like,
I will say this: Carnell Tate out of that draft class is closer to. No, I'm not gonna say it.
don't say anything that's going to get cold.
No,
Tate.
yeah, because that's not a good.
I
will just say
like,
this: he's not Garrett Wilson. He's not Chris Olave. He's not George Pickens, and that's where I'm gonna leave it.
I see.
I'm not gonna say he's Traylon Burks.
I see what you're doing there.
And I'm not gonna say he's Sky Moore. I'm not gonna say he's Christian Watson, but like,
Yeah. Ooh,
I think
Christian Watson.
I kind of think he's a little bit closer to Jahan Dotson and Christian Watson's body.
Oh, I like.
What do you like about that?
Oh, now we're
Christian Dotson.
cooking. I just like the receiving comps here tonight. Like, it's taking me back to our conversation at the beginning of the show. Like, the whole fucking world, we're taking crazy pills or something. Because like, CeeDee Lamb is like a shifty speed guy, precision like breaks, route running. George Pickens is like a physically dominant like guy, and then Carnell Tate is like a smooth catch radius. Like, they're completely, I don't know, like, again, not trying to call out anybody specifically, but like I come back to like, are y'all taking this from all these anonymous draft experts on Twitter that are saying this stuff? Because I don't know. Like, I struggle with this, Zach, because I'm trying not to, I don't want it to be like, oh, well, I know I'm right about this and you guys are wrong, but like, I just don't see it. And it's like, if you want to say something like Carnell Tate is CeeDee Lamb or George Pickens, I'm going to have to ask you, give me a fucking game.
Yeah.
Give me some tape, because I've got the Ohio State library. I can go home tonight and I can watch it. And I've already watched 3 of Carnell Tate's games, and I haven't seen any of those wide receivers yet.
It's like when someone says Steve Smith and Jigba
For Mekhi
Lemon, and everybody that I've told that to is like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it does.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Oh, I could see why
Well, we got
people
some
do
comps.
this. I could see why people do this. We got to end it right here, by the way, because we're already like an hour and a half. NL Draft Buzz comps him to Rome Odunze. I don't necessarily. I think that is out of all the comps that have been given to us tonight,
It's the closest.
it's the closest, but
Yeah.
it's still not the same because I think Carnell Tate's speedier than Rome Odunze.
I think Rome Odunze is speedier than Carnell
You
Tate.
think so?
I think Rome Odunze's speed was so underrated.
Yeah, but underrated versus what
I
you
mean, he-
actually saw
he
in the
ended up-
film is a little bit different.
Are you
I saw
saying,
it.
Stoney, are you saying like 40 speed or plane speed?
Both.
Okay.
I think because
I don't know.
ran like a 4.4.
Carnell Tate's, I will say this. It's not as good as like the deep speed is not as good as what I've saw from Denzel Boston, at least in one game.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that I think that Carnell Tate's speed that I've seen in multiple Ohio State games is better than Rome Odunze's.
Do you remember how many times we had to tell people?
I mean, like,
How
I'm not
many
saying that
times-
Rome Odunze is not fast.
How many times we said Rome Odunze has to slow down to catch balls from Michael Penix? And it was
yeah.
one of those things where
But
it was like,
Carnell Tate kind of had to do that for Julian Sand. Julian Sand was a lot worse than what people want to throw out there because everybody loves Ohio State quarterbacks and talk about sucking on teats.
I felt like Rome Odunze's windows closed a lot more because of the quarterback than Carnell Tate's. I just didn't get that impression. Now again, like,
Yeah.
maybe I need to go watch more Carnell Tate.
Someone asked what our comp was for Tet McMillan. Mine was Drake London, but I didn't like Drake London either. And listen, I was wrong on both.
I had a ridiculous one for T-Mac, and I can't remember what it was. But I was not a big T-Mac
All right, let's
fan.
wrap it up.
You sure?
Yeah, we got to.
And we got to get to the bottom of this Carnell Tate thing. I don't know. I think we need 15 more minutes.
No, we got
Is that
more
like
episodes.
Ross is chiming in. We got to get Ross's take on this.
We got more episodes to go. We got a lot of draft stuff to go.
Zach's got a dilation to go to.
Yeah, I mean it's like 7:30. We've been on since 6:01.
So this is a firm hour and a half.
And this is a firm hour and a half. Okay, so we did cover minimally like the draft and the free agencies built for the defense. That
Yeah.
was the title of the show, but we only got there very minimally.
Stack
That's
edge
all right.
rushers out of this group.
There we go. You can trade up for anything other than a quarterback, and there are plenty of opportunities to do that. We'll get into that a little bit deeper later on this season. And we pretty much trashed a bunch of our contemporaries.
I would just say everybody, not just our contemporaries, everybody that's contributed to this societal climate right now.
The societal collapse of the modern draft era.
Yeah, just like I see people tweeting stuff like, "Oh, David Bailey has no pass rush moves," and I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
who the fuck are you? Who is this guy coming out of nowhere that says
Fahrenheit
draft
40-yard
expert?
dash.
What?
Fahrenheit 40-yard dash.
There we go.
There you go.
Can I ask you guys one final question?
You can.
And you can say it's stupid if you
You're
want.
the one that has to stay over to download the podcast
That's
and
true.
upload it.
Yeah,
So-
I got to watch Mars Attacks when I get home. That's all I got on my.
Yeah.
It's a
my
big
list.
file. Do you see a world, because I could potentially, where Jeremiah Love is not on the board when the Titans pick at 4?
Yes, absolutely.
I think
Sure.
the Jets are very much in play if Brees Hall does not get a deal put in place.
Ooh,
Ross.
Ross, you
Spicy,
salty
spicy.
dog.
That I like that.
Just
yeah.
to, I don't know, conspiracy or whatever. But
I like it. And can I throw something out there just real quick?
yeah.
Rico Dowdle needs more love on these
Amen.
streets.
Amen.
so
Man.
does Joel Igbonwie, man.
Yeah.
Who?
You heard him.
Zach Scott.
I'm not going to pronounce it again. Rico Dowdle needs more love on these Tennessee Titans street because if I'm going to give up on Tony Pollard, give me Rico Dowdle at
Why-
that price.
Let's just add Rico Dowdle, draft Jeremiah Love. Then you got Love, Dowdle, Pollard, Spears.
save it for
Mullings.
Edwards after dark. This
Yeah.
is too racy.
Can we run some, what would that be? 51 personnel? 50 personnel?
Yeah. I thought you were going to talk about like 8mm film because this was getting too salty and spicy.
like a snuff film? You
Yeah.
thinking the
No.
8mm? Wasn't that what that was?
Well, yeah,
movie
but I
was
mean,
about?
but like it was based on 8mm film, right?
Oh, I thought it was something
Is
different. I never
that?
saw it.
I think you were thinking Snake Eyes.
No. Snake Eyes with Nicolas Cage. That was an awesome movie.
Yeah, well, 8mm was also Nicolas Cage. Are you thinking about where they swap faces?
No, I'm thinking about the movie where the guy is like recreating snuff films. It has something to do with snuff films.
But is it the Nicolas Cage movie?
I don't know. I thought it was called 8mm.
Yeah,
I
there
thought-
is a movie 8mm with Nicolas
This
Cage.
is such a
Are
waste
you
of
sure
time.
you're not talking? Are you sure you're not talking about the movie where Nicolas Cage was in prison for busting a guy's nose and killing him, and in the rain, and then he ended up on a plane with John Malkovich and John Leguizamo?
John Leguizamo? Is that what
Yeah.
you're
I said the same thing. I heard it pronounced both ways.
No, I don't think that's
So
it
you're not
either.
talking about Con Air.
I'm not talking about Con
Emmett
Air.
Jones in the chat said face off. Is that
Yeah,
right?
Face Off is the one where they swap faces.
That was that I remember that.
What about are you talking about the one where Delroy Lindo comes in and he tries to stop Memphis Reigns? Yes. Memphis Reigns from stealing all these cars. Is that what you're talking about?
I don't know that one.
They only had 60 seconds to steal those cars.
I did see that. Yeah. No, I don't think it's that one.
Are you
There's-
talking about the one where a weatherman wakes up? I can go through all of Nicolas Cage's.
What is your favorite Nicolas Cage movie?
Ooh, I'm going to go Matchstick Men.
I recently rewatched that and was kind of disappointed.
Oh, don't tell me that.
It was like one of my favorites when I was younger.
Yeah.
And then I rewatched it and was kind of like, oh man,
So
this
there-
is not
you know,
as cool as I
there was a
remembered.
time where like con artist movies were really big.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
that one. And then there was, oh shit, I just had it on Confidence
Yes.
with Edward Burns.
Yes.
And is he Ed Burns or Edward Burns? Ed Burns.
I don't know.
Edward Burns and Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dustin Hoffman was in it. And then Basic came out the same time with John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson. Great movie. Holds up, by the way. That mystery holds up. Basic is a great movie.
I really liked Pig. Nicolas Cage made me cry in Pig.
Yeah.
He's an underrated actor.
He is Hey, you know what he said? I don't need the MCU.
That's right.
He's doing Spider-Man Noir.
Yeah.
Noir?
Noir.
That's what I got right the first time.
You did. Yeah.
So is it about the time that Nick Cage wins the lottery and has a winning lottery ticket?
I don't know what that's referencing.
What was that? Leaving Las Vegas, Raising
Leaving
Arizona?
Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Wait, no.
Or is that Raising Arizona?
It might have been.
No.
I don't remember. They all kind of blur together.
I just want to throw out as many Nicolas Cage movies as we can.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of National Treasure. I watch that every holiday season. It's got holiday
Which holiday?
vibes. Like Thanksgiving-ish.
We're a James Bond Thanksgiving movie.
Oh,
household.
I like that.
Because
though.
do you remember if on TBS they used to have
Yeah.
the 50 days of James Bond or whatever it was?
I've never seen a single James Bond movie in my life.
This has been Football and Other F Words, and you have just been effed.